Welcome back to my 12 Days of Christmas for 2021. This is day 6. We're about to reach the halfway point. And yeah, today's show is one of my absolute favourite shows, just of my whole life, but also one of my favourites to react to as well. That is, of course, Doctor Who. We started that on my channel in 2018 when Jodie took over. Me and my friend Connor have reacted to every episode that's aired since then. And yeah, it's just a very, very dear, special show to me. I kind of tentatively got into it before it even come back because my dad and my granddad are huge fans of it as well. So I'd kind of seen bits and pieces of it. I knew of it. And then when it fully came back in 2005, I've kind of been addicted myself ever since, full and proper. And will that ever stop? No. I very much doubt it. So yeah, it's always a good time that I can cover Doctor Who for a day on the 12 Days of Christmas. And yeah, as we reach the halfway point of this kind of event again for this year, it's nice that we're kind of getting to talk about a show that's very, very dear to me. And yes, I'm kind of nervous about this one, as I tend to be when it comes to me actually like cooking or baking things for these videos. I always want to give it a go though, because, you know, it's either very successful and I'm like, hooray, or it's an absolute disaster, and I think that would still make for a funny video. So, you know, you can quite literally go wrong with baking videos, but you know, I think in terms of content, it's kind of fine either way. You know, if I make something incredibly average, that's when I've truly failed. So yeah, this is going to be me baking some Doctor Who themed cookies. There's going to be a TARDIS one and a Dalek one, well, multiples of them, depending on how much dough I can make. But I'm making it from this kit. Haha. I think it's by Hero Collector, so Equal Moss. It's a TARDIS and Dalek cookie cutter set. Comes with an apron as well, which is very nice. I'll try and show it off. But yeah, it kind of gives you some detailed instructions on what to do. You can also make that cake on the front as well. It tells you how to make that. And it comes with some really cool cookie cutters that I'm going to use to make some Doctor Who themed cookies that are hopefully going to be quite delicious. As I'm recording this is actually the first behind the scenes. This is the first of the 12 Days of Christmas that I'm recording this year because I feel like it's going to take a long ass time. So if all goes well, I'm actually seeing some friends tomorrow to exchange Christmas presents, and if I successfully make these, I can kind of bring them along. We'll see how it goes, very tentatively. But you know, I can feel my baking skills very slowly growing. And I'm willing to give it a good go. I've got all the ingredients. I spent all day going to lots of different supermarkets, let's be honest, because I needed to get a lot of different coloured icings that some supermarkets just didn't do. Essentially, we're going to be making the actual dough itself first, makes sense, pressing out and cutting the cookies from there, baking them, and then, I mean, some of them you can literally just, let me just show you. You know, it's these things here. These are the cookie cutters, that's the Dalek one. But you also just have the background one as well. So if you want to do them plain, you can just use it like that. So it's just like the outline. Those are the ones that you would then probably decorate with the icing. But if you just wanted plain cookies that you didn't want to decorate, because sometimes that can be a faff, you don't have time, they give you that as well. So you can just have it look like a Dalek or a TARDIS. So I'm going to do kind of a mix and match of both. I'll probably just give each one a go with icing, and then the rest will probably just be like standard cookies, because I don't trust my skills, essentially. So yeah, I'm very excited to give this a go. We're gonna have a big montage, I guess, of me making the dough, cutting all the cookies out and stuff. You know, I'm sure you're aware of how cookies work. And then when it comes to actually decorating them, I'll try and have a different setup to this, where I can actually like talk to the camera and also show what I'm doing. Haven't exactly worked it out yet, because I don't really film with a proper camera anymore, so it makes doing multiple shots and views like I've done with previous videos in the Christmas kind of vein a bit more difficult. So I'll work that out once I get to it. So for now, let's get started on these cookies and try desperately to make a decent dough. Okay, I am stood at a bit of a funny angle to make this work, but hello. But yeah, we're going to kick this off, and we start with 200 grams of butter, which is always a good start in my book, and then 250 grams of golden caster sugar, and then we mix these up. Then separately add an egg and then half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix those up. And then that goes into there and we mix all that up. Then we have 400 grams of flour there, and I really underestimated the size of that bowl, and we just need to sieve it into the mixture. And then mix it all together. And we have our dough. So now I'm going to make it into a ball and we'll go from there. Okay, so there's our dough, and now I just need to separate this into two sections, so to split it in half, and then we have half of the dough to make TARDIS cookies and half the dough to make Dalek cookies. Okay, so now we have our dough separated in half. We just need to cover it, both sides, in baking parchment, and then we're going to roll it out until it's about 5mm thick, it says. I'm just going to guesstimate that because honestly I can't be asked with the measuring. So yeah, we're going to roll both pieces out until it's about the right size. Basically, we need to make it so we can cut cookies out of it. And then it says to chill for 30 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do. For you, that won't be that long at all, so I'll see you then. Okay, so the dough's been chilling now for half an hour, so now it's time to actually cut them out with these things. So if you want some to decorate, you just use this as it is. So let's just give this a whirl and hope for the best. Seems to be going on alright. Get that out. Okay, so that's going to be a standard Dalek that I'm going to decorate with icing and stuff, so that can just stay plain. And then if I press in another one like so, I think I'll get maybe 3 or 4 Daleks and 3 or 4 TARDISes, TARDIS, I don't know, out of each half of the dough that I've got. So I think I'll probably have about 8 cookies in all. We'll see how it probably goes, but this is the main stamp for the Dalek. So if you're not going to decorate the cookies themselves and you just want them to be plain with the design, we're going to use that. Now, put that in and make sure the details are all pressed on properly, hopefully. Okay, I haven't done a brilliant job there. I've mucked it up there, but it did get a bit stuck trying to get that out. So I'll try again with the next batch, because I'm going to need to remove all the excess now. I'm going to re-roll the rest of the dough and try and get another couple of cookies out of it. Well, I do want to document my failings, so really mucked up putting that one onto the baking tray. Bit lopsided. I didn't properly stamp it anyway, so it was always going to go wrong. So this is the absolute mood Dalek, and I personally relate to this one. So that's a shame, but I can try again with the rest of the dough and we'll see how it goes. Okay, that attempt went better. Still not brilliant, but certainly better than last time. I've actually got a lot more dough left over than I thought, so I'll probably get a 5th cookie out of that. Okay, so I did get another Dalek out of it. I've just kind of kept it on the paper that it was on, because I just found that easier to transfer, because otherwise I just ruin them. I didn't quite stamp it correctly again, so I'm not very good at that. That's going to take a bit more practice, I think, if I make these again. Don't really have enough left to make another whole one, so I might just add this to the other half of the dough I've got and see if we can make maybe an extra TARDIS out of it. But yeah, I guess now we need to actually bake these. I think it is, let me check. So that's 180 degrees Celsius for about 8 to 12 minutes. So I'm going to get those going, and while that's happening I can get out the TARDIS. Okay, I think slightly more successful with the TARDIS compared to the Dalek. Still not perfect. I mucked up there, and a bit of the cookie dough actually got caught in the mould there, so that's actually got a bit of a gap in it. But I've still got plenty more dough to make a few more TARDISes, so I'm going to give that another go. The fact that I'm not particularly good at getting that alright does make me nervous, because it's kind of essential for the decoration to make it look good. So we'll see how this goes a bit later on, but getting them ready for now. And yeah, let's make the rest of these up, I suppose. Okay, that might be my best attempt yet. I still didn't really get it right there. But the rest of it's actually not too bad. Okay, last one. Also didn't do very well. It got stuck in the mould. I think my dough's just a bit too sticky. Maybe I used to cool it for even longer than half an hour like it said. Or maybe just the way I made it, I did something a bit wrong. I don't know. Bit of a shame. I'm a bit disappointed with how the cutting's gone. But we'll see how it goes with like these plain flat ones over there. But I still need to decorate with the icing. But to actually make them, I have to use the cutters again. So I'm not very confident that these are going to look great in the end. But still, content is content. So now I'm going to have to kind of bake these in different kind of timings and stuff, because I just don't have room in the oven for all of them. So yeah, this might take me a bit of a stretch to actually get them all baked, but once they are, I will start the decorating process and try my best, because that's all they can do. So I will see you guys in a minute. And we are back. I had a break to get some food while these cooled down, and I'm trying my best to showcase the best TARDIS and the best Dalek of the selection that I did. So this is almost how they're supposed to look, I would say. You know, I feel like I'm about 80% of the way there. Unfortunately, I'm just not that good at cutting out the shapes just yet. So that will, you know, not really fare me well for what comes next with the icing and stuff, but that's fine. These are just the standard ones. These are done, as far as I'm concerned. So these are the ones that we did properly press. So yeah, they're not too bad. I made 10 cookies overall. I did 5 TARDISes and 5 Daleks. I think with the excess dough, you could maybe add a push, get an 11th, but I couldn't quite manage it. But I suppose it depends on just the little scraps or whatever you may have had along the way. But I think you could safely make 10 with this recipe. So 5 of each makes sense, works out well. So yeah, these are kind of my best offerings. Again, still not perfect. There's a bit there that got stuck in the mould when I took it out. That I didn't, the stamp in there isn't excellent. But you know what? For a first attempt, I'm not mad at it. It's fine. I'll actually taste one in a bit, I imagine. But for now, I need to get the icing done. So those are our standard ones, all out of the way. And then you'll also remember to try and learn how this camera works. This is not a setup I'm used to. These are the plain ones that we didn't stamp a pattern onto, because these are the ones we actually are going to decorate with the icing. And I'm quite nervous about it, but the shapes themselves as a base, I think they're pretty solid, so I'm actually quite happy with how these ones turned out. But it was just cutting them out with the stencil. It's probably the easiest part of the process. So yeah, I guess we need to dive into this, see how it goes. I think I'll start with the Dalek first, because I think that's going to be the harder one to do, or at least make look good. So yes, let's just get into it. I'm taking a few liberties with what the recipe says for this, and how to bring the Dalek to life, if you will, just because I couldn't find everything ingredients-wise that the recipe stated. So I'm gonna have a bit of a creative liberty with it. It even says, in the book, you could do different color combinations for the Daleks and stuff. I'm just gonna try and stick with the classic bronze Dalek design that we're used to with the new series. But yeah, I guess we're gonna desperately try and give this a go. So we're discarding the TARDIS for now. You shall come back one day. And then that leaves us with some icing to work with. I bought a lot of icing. So we've got, at least for the Dalek, I think we're going to need white, black, yellow. And then this is the closest like bronzy colour I could find. It's not too terrible exactly getting the colour right for that, because I do have like some like spray, like glittery stuff to actually make it look a bit more like bronze. It's not the end of the world, so we're going to roll little bits of this out. Obviously the bronze is going to be the big base, and we are going to try. I'm going to try my best, and we're going to see how this goes. Okay, that hasn't gone terribly. I'm fairly happy with that. I think it's probably just easier to put this on icing rather than the dough, because I think the dough was particularly sticky, so that's fine. So yeah, this is kind of the basis of what we're going for with the Dalek. Okay, it's not a perfect fit. You can kind of see I didn't put it right to the top there, but it fits well enough on it that I'm not going to try and manoeuvre it too much more in case I completely destroy it. So that's going to do for now, but what it does say to do is kind of paint the back of it a bit with some water just so it sticks a bit more. This was the part I was particularly nervous about, so I'm glad that it's gone semi-okay. I think this is just, you know, if you're used to like baking and stuff, I think you're probably going to have a fairly easy time with this kind of thing. I'm an absolute noob, so I'm kind of just happy with this for a first attempt, but it's just going to be a practice, isn't it? Okay, not terrible, not terrible. I'm more than okay with that. I'm not okay with how the camera's behaving, because I'm not used to it. But there you go. That's how it's looking thus far, with the base kind of icing laid down. Okay, I'm going to try and keep it facing you, because I'm always thinking of you guys. Might make it a bit more difficult for me, but it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, now we have this luster stuff, I think. It's like edible kind of glittery stuff that I'm going to kind of paint the main bulk of the Dalek with to make it look all bronzy. I couldn't find the official bronze colour, they didn't have it, but they did have metallic ginger. That's a name they've gone for. So I'm going to hope that it's good enough and does the job. And yeah, I'm just gonna... Oh wow, yeah, that'll do. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. So yeah, we're just gonna paint over just to make it look a bit more like it is actually metal and stuff. I'm not gonna be too cautious of lines and everything because, you know, life's too short. This video's taken 25 years, so just gonna give this a bit of a paint. And yeah, if some parts aren't meant to be this kind of gold colour, like parts that are supposed to be black and stuff, doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover it with some icing anyway. So I'm just going to paint as much as I feel like I need to. But yeah, should we talk about Doctor Who? Feels like there's a point of the video, but yeah, a lot's gone down. So as I'm recording this, it's this Sunday is the finale of Doctor Who Flux. So episode 6 is airing in a mere 2 days, and I'm very excited for it. I've really enjoyed Flux. I know it would seem the general consensus is that people have really enjoyed it as well, which is great. I love it when people enjoy Doctor Who. I know the latest era hasn't been to everyone's taste, which is fair enough. I've personally really liked it. I think Jodie's fantastic. I'm so sad, really, that we don't have much left with her, really, with her Doctor. Only another, 4 episodes, I think it is, and then that's it. It's quite sad. But yeah, I'm excited for the future. Rusty Davies coming back, it's a lot of fun. But I'm just happy to enjoy Flux right now, to be honest. I'm really, really impressed with how it's gone down. Obviously, it could all fall apart. We haven't seen how it ends yet, or at least I haven't at the point of recording this. By the time this video goes up, it would have long since finished, and we're going to be getting hyped for the New Year's Day special. But currently, I don't know how things are going to wrap up, and it is exciting. And as for quickfire questions in regards to Doctor Who, my favourite Doctor is Matt Smith, the 11th. My favourite companion is quite a difficult question. I know Clara's very Marmite, but I love her. I'd put her up there as one of my favourites, to be honest. I've also been watching, in the past year actually, my development, of watching Doctor Who, because I haven't seen all of the classic series. I've seen a bunch of it, but not all of it. I watched season 12 this year, which is Tom Baker's first season, and I must say, the Fourth Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry has easily become one of my favourite TARDIS teams. I love them. So if you haven't seen any of the classic series, do give it a go. My favourite classic Doctor is John Pertwee. He's my second favourite Doctor overall. But yeah, what are your favourite Doctors and companions and TARDIS teams and stories, villains? My favourite villains are the Cybermen. I think they are releasing another set of like cookie cutters and stuff like this with Cybermen in it. I feel like I've seen one with Cybermen on Sontarans. There's also one coming out, as I'm recording this, it's out in like a week, with Doctors 10 through to 13 in it as like the cookie cutters. But obviously that came out a bit too late for me to be able to use that in a video, otherwise I probably would have made the Doctors. But Daleks and TARDISes will do. And my favourite story is The Doctor's Wife from Series 6. I love that episode so much. Okay, so that is the main base of the Dalek done. So the first thing I need for yellow are like the Dalek's ears, if you will. So I've just stamped it into some yellow and cut out the ears separately. And then the rest is going to be fairly easy because I just need to roll them into little balls for the Dalek orbs. So I can set that aside for now. But yeah, this is a fairly simple thing to do, but that's why I think doing the icing bits like this is, it's a lot easier because you don't need the whole stamp to be like perfect like you do for the overall kind of cookie. You just need the little bits that you're focusing on to be good. I mean, you can try that as many times as you like. So that's worked out quite well for me. So now I'm going to get some edible glue. Get a bit of glue on the ears of the Dalek there. Just stick them on. Easy. Barely an inconvenience. Now I'm just putting a bit of the glitter stuff on it again. Very, very watered down compared to the rest of it. Just so it looks like they're kind of illuminated a bit for the lights, so it's not just like flat yellow. Okay, now I've got 18 little yellow balls. It's never gonna sound nice to say little balls, is it? Just rounded up some of them to make the Dalek orbs. I just haphazardly kind of tore them off the big block of yellow, so I still need to properly make them all round and stuff. But these then all get stuck on the Dalek. You can probably guess where. But before I do that, I've got a gold spray so I can make the orbs look quite gold, and hopefully, I don't know for sure if it is, hopefully it's quite a different colour to the bronze that I've painted the main Dalek, because if not, then I've made a mistake painting that Dalek, that bronze, and I should have just left it as it was. But you know what? It's all a learning curve. Okay, so I've got some like gold dust here now, and that should hopefully make these things look rather gold. I was hoping the spray would be a bit stronger than it was, so I just had to like tip the glitter out a bit. And I'm just gonna paint it in the same way I painted the bronze glitter on. I think it does look a bit different colour-wise. I don't know if it's as much as I would have liked, but it will do. I mean, too late to change it now, isn't it? But this is going to be a long and tedious process, so I'm guessing I'm going to skip past all of this for you guys. Well, that was a long, arduous process, but we got there in the end. So I'm just putting some edible glue on all the spots we need to, and on they go. I could have probably done with a few coats of this gold, to be honest, on these, but again, I'm rapidly running out of time to get this video done, because it's already been about 4 hours of me recording, with breaks of course, but you know, it's fine. Is it perfect? Are they all the same shape and size? No. But it's fine. I'm more than happy with this, to be honest. Okay, so we're moving on to the black icing now, and this was far and away my best attempt yet at pressing the stencil thing in, so that worked out well. I'm just looking at exactly what I need to get from this. So we need to cut out the eye bit there, these two sections here, and then the bottom part as well, and the base for like the sucker arm. Okay, so all the individual elements have been cut out that I need to. I'm going to hold on to the black for now though, because we're not quite done with it yet, but we are going to glue these onto the Dalek now. Okay, so now I've got a bit of white icing, and I'm going to mix it with a bit of black to hopefully get some sort of grey, which will then become some of the the weaponry, the eye stalk, etc. Okay, so I've added the sucker arm, the eye stalk, and the silver gun on top. So we're nearly done here with the Dalek. So I've just got another little piece of black, and then poked a little kind of divot in it using the end of the paintbrush. So that is the sucker itself. So I'm going to try and balance that on top of here and stick that down. Like so. Alright, that's not too bad. I think for the arms and the eye stalk and stuff, I think in the original kind of recipe, I think they're like candy sticks painted silver, but I couldn't find any of those. And then finally, for the eye itself, they've just used a silver ball bearing. I'm sure you know what those are. These are actually quite big compared to the standard size ones. I couldn't find any smaller ones, unfortunately, because I would have preferred those, but I'm making do with what I can find. So that's being stuck on there. And after just decorating this Dalek alone has taken me an hour and 12 minutes, which is absolutely hilarious. Haven't even got to the TARDIS yet, and it's getting quite late, but there you go. So folks, that is our Dalek fully done. I don't hate it, how it turned out. Obviously it could have had a lot more finesse to it, in the words of Gordon Ramsay. I could have spent a lot more time painting the gold on the spheres so they don't look quite so yellow, but it's not too bad. But overall, I'm fairly happy with how that turned out. For a first go, I could refine that again and again and again. But it's fine. It's done. I don't think the TARDIS is going to take quite as long because there's not as much to it, especially because I literally could find TARDIS blue icing, so that really did help. But yeah, that is the Dalek decorated. Imagine decorating every single cookie. I'd have to do another 4 times if I wanted to decorate them all, which is not happening. So I'm happy to stick with just this one. But now it's time to move on to the TARDIS. Okay, so we're moving on to the TARDIS now. I got very lucky in finding some TARDIS blue icing, so that's going to save us a lot of time trying to mix the right blue. That would have taken 10 years, so I'm glad I didn't have to do that. So we're going to roll that out. On the surface, it seems like this is going to be a simpler thing to do than the Dalek. There is, I think, the fiddliest bit of this whole entire recipe is with this though, because you'd think with making the police box sign you could just use the black icing, but they actually wanted to use white icing because of the police public call box text on there. So you kind of have to paint around that on the stencil, which should be interesting to see how I do with that. Probably not very well. So we're going to see how that goes. But again, it's all trial and error. Apart from that, fairly standard stuff. Okay, so cutting it out went fine. Actually getting it on the thing, I had a bit of an issue and it went a bit all wobbly. So it's not fantastic, I won't lie. I'll be the first to admit. But I'm not going to try it again. Because this is probably the best that I will do for now. It's just practice makes perfect. And I've had no practice, so it's not perfect. It's very go home TARDIS, you're drunk. So I'll make do. It's Christmas. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're working with. Drunken TARDIS. But I think there's a charm to it being drunk, you know? Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint this light here. What I wanted you to do was have like turquoise glitter and like paint it with that, the light at the top. I couldn't find any, so I'm probably just going to use like either the bronze or the gold glitter and just colour that in so it looks like it's lighting up anyway. And then we need some yellow for the windows, some white painted black for like that sign there with all the information on to make it look like it has information on it, and then again white painted black for the police sign here, and I'm going to try and go around the lettering on the stencil, which is very difficult because it's not exactly particularly thick lettering, so I'm quite nervous about that bit. That's going to be very fiddly, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to start with the light and the windows because that's the easiest stuff, and then we'll see how the complicated things go. Okay, I think the only way to kind of go about this is to be fairly abstract with it, because at the end of the day, how are you going to get the detail properly? But yeah, black food colouring, a very thin brush. I'm going to start with the door sign because I think it's probably a bit easier. Okay, it doesn't go on particularly well, so I might need a couple of coats of that, so I might leave that to dry for a bit. Again, very abstract, we'll just see how it goes. Okay, well, maybe this black food colouring's let me down a bit here. The food colouring on the example in the guide is immaculate, really. So I wonder where they bloody got their food colouring from, because I'd like them to let me know. I also mucked it up and let some get in the white there. I'm actually quite happy with how it looks on the police side of things. Obviously, I don't think you can see it very well. It kind of shows up. But it looks more... It's very splotchy. It's dried very patchy. At the end of the day, it's very, very late at this point. I've been doing this for nearly 6 hours now, making these bloody things. And if I strive for perfection, I'll never get anything done at the end of the day. So I might just accept that for my first go, my learning curve is find some black food colouring that's actually good. I imagine it's just quite hard to do anyway, but I wish the instruction manual didn't make it look quite so easy to paint black on, because it looks like it's just stayed so nicely on theirs. How did they do it? I don't know. But you know what? I'm very tired. I'm going to try and let that dry for a little bit, then I'm just going to accept that that is the fate that this TARDIS has. Okay, there we have it. That was quite the process, I must say. A lot of hard work. Did that pay off? I don't know. But yeah, it was a fun little project to celebrate one of my favourite shows by having, quite frankly, a terrible time. It's now 10 p.m. I started this at 4:30, making these bloody things. I'm actually quite happy with how the Dalek turned out, I must say. Overall, I would rate my effort like a 6 out of 10. I'm very pleased with the Dalek. No, the decorated Dalek, that is. It looks very good, even though I did have to, off camera, correct the eye stalk because I missed out a bit of black in it. So I've added that back in. So it is a bit more accurate now. But you know what? If you squint, that looks bloody great. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with how that guy turned out. I thought I'd be more happy with the TARDIS than the Dalek, but it was the other way around. Because yeah, it's fine. A little bit wobbly. Again, if you hold it from far away, it looks okay. But the black food colouring just let me down. I think if that had been alright, I wouldn't be too disappointed with it. But overall, I kind of am, just because I think the black could have done a bit better. And I just don't have time to maybe wait for the food colouring to dry and try it again and everything. And I'm not sure how effective it would be. Look at that. How did they do that? That is black food colouring they've painted on. How? Impossible. I call nonsense. But, you know, it's fine. You know what it is. So, that's okay. And then, just for the rest of them, the standard ones, very mixed results overall. There's only one TARDIS that I'm like fully happy with, this guy right here. And then all the Daleks were kind of, they had at least something wrong with them. So I think it was just probably my dough. It was a bit too sticky. But for my first attempt, it was fine. It was fun. It allowed me to bask in the glory of Doctor Who. And thank God that I don't have to make these ever again. I will leave that to the people who are far better at it than me. I am far from a professional. So, you know what? I gave it a go. It was a moderate success. Remember when I said at the start, like, making something pretty average in the end was like the ultimate failure? I feel like I achieved the ultimate failure, to be honest. But I do really like the Dalek, so that's fun. And, you know, I guess it's taste that counts. Shall I have a bit of a bite of one? It took me like 6.5 hours to make the goddamn things. I might as well try it. Do you remember the drunk Dalek? That's him, fully baked and everything. I also feel like I may have overdone some of these. I don't know. I mean, they taste great, actually. I'm very pleased with how they taste. So at the end of the day, most of them look terrible, but they're all going to taste pretty damn good. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to count for me, because I'm going to be the one who eating them all. And yeah, so a moderate success. I wish I could have done better with it, but at the end of the day, I gave it a good go. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, so I got very, very tired, and I just wanted it over with. So there you go. By the time you've seen this, Doctor Who Flux would have been and gone. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed this series thus far. And yeah, we would have had all the episodes for 2021 of Doctor Who by the time this goes out. 3 more with Jodie. Very, very sad about that. But yeah, let me know, you know, your thoughts and feelings on Doctor Who. Who are your favourite Doctors and favourite villains, favourite episodes, favourite series, and why? And if you've had any Doctor Who themed baking shenanigans yourself, do share them stories with me. I'd be very intrigued to know. I imagine you're all a bit more successful than me, but you know what? I'm just gonna squint and be like, yeah, that looks really good, Liam. Well done. But yeah, at the end of the day, I had fun for the first couple of hours, and I'm gonna choose to forget the rest. But overall, quite the little project. And if you do kind of feel yourself a bit lost for an afternoon, feel free to maybe pick one of these up. I'm not sponsored. I wish I were, but I'm not. But yeah, if you are a talented baker, or at least more talented than me at most things, which is probably the case, you'd probably do alright. You know, it's not so bad. And I do genuinely think, I know I'm being a bit hard on myself, but that's for comedy. I do generally think a few more tries at this, I think I would get better. So there you go. And I might just try and find a workaround with the black food colouring if I were to do it again, because that is just absolute nonsense. Look at that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this day of Christmas. Back tomorrow with another one. I can't remember what the next day is, but I tend to leave it as a surprise anyway, so it's probably good that I don't remember. But yeah, hopefully you're enjoying these 12 days of Christmas. Obviously we are halfway through at this point, but this is the first one that I've actually filmed. What I wanted to start with, eh? Oh god, that's set me up well, hasn't it? I'm sure there won't be any more moments like this, right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow for another day of Christmas. I'm so tired. Thanks for watching.